Hey everybody.
Welcome, here we are.
Yes, we're so glad that you've chosen to join us for this today's edition of Coronavirus and Retail Community Forum. This is your chance to ask questions for us to, help you in any way that we can. This is one giant mastermind about how we're going to, as a community of independent brick and mortar retailers, how we're going to make it through this, what we're going to do. As you know, things are changing every single day.
Hour by hour.
Hour by hour. And so this is a forum for us to all pull together and share ideas, support each other. Just do whatever we can. Susan and I, you, all of us together to really, do what we can to make it through this. Today we have something that's we're very excited about. Candace D'Agnolo, I always say her name. D'Agnolo. See, I'm Dutch. I can say all the Dutch names, no problems. Italian names, Polish names, I tend to trip on my tongue. So we have Candace who's going to join us today about social selling. As you know, last week and several videos that were done on the WhizBang Retailers page. We've talked about it in the last two podcasts that we've done the last 2 days. Social selling is going to become an important part of your marketing efforts. At least I believe it will be an incredibly important part of your marketing effort.
Absolutely.
And so we've got Candace. I'm having a problem with names. I called Maureen Maurice before we started the interview.
As long as you don't forget my name.
That's right. I won't. I promise, Jane. Or Brenda, or Barbara, or whatever. So she's going to come on and share some information on social selling. So this is your time to ask us questions. This is your time to share ideas. And before we begin, concerns and
things that you've been trying.
Absolutely.
So we've got a lot of people on, everybody from Ontario to our friends at Ascent Bicycles in Colorado.
All right.
We've got Gilbert, and we've got Linda from the other side of the state here in Michigan on.
Great. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We're so glad that you're here. So before we start taking questions, and are there questions already?
Not yet.
Okay.
They're just people chiming in, saying
chiming hello. In. Hello. We're glad to see you. Before we begin, I'd like to just make sure that you know about a couple of resources. If you're watching this on the WhizBang Retail Training page, we do have a community that has been hyper active and hyper supportive, and that is WhizBang Retailers. And I would encourage you, if you don't know, if you're not a member of that group yet, please join that group. It is a great source of support and ideas. Lots of great stuff happening there. That is, of course, here on Facebook. We've also started a podcast. It's called Coronavirus and the Independent Retailer Podcast. Every morning it is shot at 9:30 here on Facebook, so you can watch it live as it's being shot, and then it will go out as a podcast. So if you want to subscribe to Coronavirus and the Independent Retailer Podcast, go to Anchor. Is that correct, Nate? If they just go to Anchor and search that, Coronavirus and the Independent Retailer, they will find, and you can subscribe on your favorite platform. So every morning, it's supposed to be under 15 minutes, but if you know me, I have a hard time keeping anything under 15 minutes. The last 2 days, it's been 20. I'm going to try to bring it down, but I get enthusiastic about helping you. So that's that. Resources that we're doing everything we can to help you manage this, the outbreak of this coronavirus. So are there any questions that we should answer, or should I just start talking?
Yeah, let's kind of do a little recap from this morning about the decision to stay open versus close. Some people don't have a decision. We've got Katie on from San Francisco. They're locked down. She doesn't have a choice.
That's right.
A lot of us still have a choice, but those might be going away too. So I know the president was just on doing a press conference, kind of asking for everybody to voluntarily, even more stringent restrictions in terms of number of people at gatherings, down to 10, things like that. So
That's right. And one of the things, I was listening to the same press conference when we were coming over here. His chief scientist, and I apologize if I'm not getting his title correctly, was really emphasizing young people need to stay out of bars, need to stay out of parties. So if you're an adult who has a child or someone who you can influence, when you're young, you feel invincible, you feel invulnerable, and it is true that you are a lot less likely to die from the coronavirus, but it's also just as important that you don't spread it. So if you have influence on somebody who may feel that it doesn't apply to them, please exert all the pressure that you can on them. But so let's talk, so this morning, because this came from several threads on WhizBang retailers where people were feeling internal pressure to close even though they didn't need to, even though it wasn't mandated. Like it is in San Francisco and now Miami. So they were feeling either internal pressure to be a good person or they were feeling external social pressure. People on social media were basically trying to shame them, telling them that they were being socially irresponsible for being open. So now I don't have my notes in front of me, so I'm going to have to do it off the top of my head. Tell me if I'm missing anything.
Can you wing it? I think you can wing it.
Okay, let me see. So the first thing that I want to say is there's always going to be haters.
And not even haters, complainers.
Complainers. Well, I like the whole haters be hater thing.
Haters gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate. But there's always...
And no matter what decision you make.
That's exactly right. That is exactly correct. So times are tense. Things are happening. It is uncertain. And, Susan and I feel that pressure. You feel that pressure. Everyone is feeling the pressure and stress that come from uncertainty, that comes from disruption. And what happens when there's all this pressure, both internal and external, is it brings out people's true colors, right? So some people are responding heroically. Some people are responding very selfishly. And this is not about either of those. I'm just making the point that emotions tend to be amplified. And so some people, so going back to this whole thing, so some people are feeling the pressure to close from themselves. Some people are feeling pressure to close from social media. And so it's not a question of what's the right decision. The question is, we can't make that decision for you. In San Francisco, that decision has been made.
Right.
But what we can do is help you frame the conversation with yourself so that you and your team can maybe talk about it and make the best decision for you, your community, and your business. Because at the end of the day, we all need to be good citizens here. We all need to be good human beings here. So
that's the number one thing. Be a good human being.
That's right.
Which does mean what you shouldn't be doing right now is like having huge events in your store.
Right.
No.
Even a week ago, you could have an event and not, from an uninformed perspective, right? But anymore, you cannot really have events in your store and be socially responsible. I think that's becoming more and more evident. So, but then the question becomes, how do you continue to do business? How do you stay open for business while not doing business in the way that you've typically done business? As brick and mortar retailers, what we've always done is brought people into our store.
Yeah.
So now what we have to do is find a way to do business without bringing lots of people into our store at the same time. If you've been part of our community for any amount of time, you know that Susan and I are all about promotions. We're all about having big events that create lots of buzz, that bring lots of people into your store. Those days are done. So how do you make the decision whether you need to close or not? Well, I talked about that there's a couple of different things to consider. And one is community. You need to be a responsible human being. So when we talk about community, when we talk about being responsible, I'm encouraging you to be a critical thinker, an accurate thinker. If you look on social media, it's going away, but for a long time, people were saying that this was a hoax, that this was politics, that this was media driven. Well, I think it's pretty clear.
It's just like the flu.
It's just like the flu.
It's not like the flu.
I think that's pretty, that notion has been dispelled. That ship has sailed. So, but when we talk about accurate thinking and being a good member of the community, I'm asking you to consider, what is the science saying right now? Find good information to help you make a good decision. So that's the first thing. The second thing is about you and how you feel emotionally. You know, you need to make a decision that, you know, again, first and foremost, you need to be a good human being and a good citizen. But then, how do you feel? If you feel very strongly that you need to close down because that's how you feel, that's okay. But here's what I want you to do is when you look at your emotions, I'd like you to consider looking at them not as a driver of the decision, but another piece of information when you make the decision. So it's a data point.
One more point.
It's a data point.
In the decision.
So you have science, you have how you feel. And then finally, you can start to look at what other people are saying. So other people are what people are saying on social media. I had a conversation with a client recently, and they said, somebody's shaming me for being open. They're saying it's socially irresponsible. And my response to her and my response to you is, that is their opinion. If you're making a decision based on how, you know, the science, what's going on in your community, you're being a good citizen, you're comfortable with the decision. If you're comfortable staying open, that piece of information, the social, the outside of you dynamic, I think is the least important of the three. But
I mean, it's important. You should pay attention to it. You should probably respond to it. You should know why you're staying open. And I think the other component maybe that you haven't yet touched on in those different things to think about too is how critical is what you sell to your community. Like, for example, we have one client who's got a really large hardware store, and people need the stuff she sells right now. They need it. She sells disinfectants. She sells hand sanitizers. She sells paper products. The community needs those things.
Pet stores.
Pet stores. Mark Haslam is on. He's just like, what? You know, I feel like I need to stay open, but everyone around me is closing. I'm like, yeah, Mark, I get that, because people need these items for their pets. It's like grocery store for your pets. So, do you need a new pair of earrings right now? Maybe not. You might want a new pair of earrings, and there's some ways to still sell earrings, but you might not need earrings.
Right.
So, so kind of depending on what your merchandise mix is too. We have quite a few baby stores, and those new mothers
need stuff.
If your baby's coming next week, it doesn't care if there's coronavirus. You know what? You still need a car seat. You still need a crib. You still need, whatever the stuff is you need as a brand new parent.
Right.
So part of it is you assessing, that need-related piece that you fulfill for your community. How can you do that responsibly, still being a good human, still maintaining social distance, and all those different things? So I think that's just one more piece.
Yes, it's one more, and that's, you're very, very, you're correct. But really, so going back to this, the essential piece is being an accurate thinker, not overreacting to what's happening on social media, not overreacting to what is going on internally, not overreacting to what the media says or what our politicians are saying, but you, as a good human being who also happens to own a brick and mortar independent retail store, saying, I need to make a good decision for everyone involved. And being calm, being rational, understanding that all of this is information that goes into a decision that is rational, accurate, and serves everyone, your community, your customers, and yourself.
Jason says he's, for example, got a scrub store.
Yes.
And the medical community has no time to do laundry, and they need extra clean clothing. So,
Great example.
Critical service for the community. So thank you for doing what you can, Jason.
That's right. But then the other thing that we've been talking about for the last several days, and the reason that we have Candace on today, is I absolutely 100% believe that you can be a good citizen, keep your business open, and that you don't have to close your business to be a good citizen. You just have to change the way that you're thinking about it. The world is zigging. This is your opportunity to zag. Whenever there is major disruption, there are real opportunities. And that's why we're talking about, why we're having Candace here, so that you have a better idea of how to use social media, live video, to be a resource for your customers, to be, somebody who is good, and, keep your business going, keep your customers happy, but yet keeping everybody safe.
Yeah, Mark just says, what else can I do? And Mark, watch this segment that we're going to be showing you on social selling. We've been talking a lot about this the last month with our Platinum Mastermind group, and they are on it, and it's working. And so I think that this social selling piece that Candace is going to be talking about, you're going to really like. So,
and I'm going to share one more thing here. So if there's questions, just kick me in the leg. But I'm going to share. I had a conversation with a brand new Platinum Mastermind group member this afternoon, and we were having this same sort of thing. Okay, things are changing. What do I need to do? And all of this information has been put out there on the WhizBang Retailers page, and I would encourage you to go back. But here is it. Here's what the two-pronged strategy is in its essence. Number one, recognizing that your customer database is your most valuable asset. So be proactive about contacting your current customers. I did an interview with Maureen Doran. I would encourage on her clienteling program. I would encourage you to go back and listen to that.
Definitely.
Clienteling is when you get in touch with your clients. Again, we're used to everybody trying to get people to come to see us. Well, that's not working anymore. What we have to do is reach out to the people who are already our customers and find a way to serve them. Here's the operative term: find a way to serve them. So we're switching the flow, so to speak. We're going out and being proactive about keeping the relationship alive. So that's one track here. The second track is using live video to entertain, to solve problems, to create distractions, to do good things for your customers. And we talked about this in a video. We talked about this on the podcast yesterday, but it's really a fairly simple model. It's engage, sell, and deliver. Engage. Can you create a daily show that your customer comes and watches? If you have a toy store, can you have a daily game show where you teach the games that
a game show.
I know. I didn't think of it before I said it, but can you do that? If you sell women's fashion, can you have a fashion show? Can you walk around your store and show people your merchandise? So now is an opportunity for you to really, really go deep with your customers. I had a conversation with somebody who has a premium cigar store. Actually has 10 premium cigar stores. But, a lot of people come in and they're interested in cigars. If they had time, they would like to know more about the history of the cigars. They would like to know how to select a cigar,
how to store a cigar.
They would like to know more about cigars. Well, guess what? People are going to be bored out of their gourds. This is an opportunity to educate. I saw somebody posted on WhizBang Retailers, somebody's doing a virtual wine tasting.
Yep.
So if you have a wine store, can you say, this is today's wine, come by the store, pick up this wine, and at 8 o'clock tonight, we're all going to taste it together. So what we're doing is...
What a great idea.
What a great idea.
I love it. Every night you can taste a different wine.
So that's the engage part. Social media, live social media. Then the next part of the model, that's engagement. The next part of the model is selling, because you can't just entertain. You need to stay alive, right? We're doing this to stay alive. We're doing this to sell stuff. So when you're doing this live social media, make sure that you're actually doing things like saying, hey, this bottle of wine, call to the store right now. We'll take your credit card number. Or, if you're doing e-commerce, you could say, put your credit card number in and we'll put one aside. We're going to talk about social selling with Candace, but it's not enough to engage. You need to engage and you need to close the sale. Mm-hmm. And then you have to find a way to deliver. Yeah. Again, as social distancing becomes more prevalent, it could be curbside pickup. It could be you deliver on your way home, but we need to sell some stuff, folks.
Yeah.
This is about staying alive, staying alive.
Good. So Peter Moore just said that they're closing their stores today.
Yeah.
And Peter's got some shoe stores in Ontario, I think, too. And he says what they're doing is the Shoetopia shopping channel. And I think that's great.
That's exactly right.
This is what we've been talking about with our Platinum Mastermind Group members since our meeting in LA about 6 weeks ago, when we first started dinging them like, hey, this is coming, you need to be paying attention. And what we've been talking about with them is this QVC style selling, home shopping network style selling. Like the idea of yes, just walking around your store and being engaging is great, but let me borrow that glass for a second. So, but
hey Nate, could you get us, when you have a chance, could you get us another glass of water or a pitcher of water when you get a chance?
That'd be great.
Thank you.
So but the idea of QVC style selling, I want you to think about this. You've all seen it, QVC, Home Shopping Network, where they go, oh, Bob, today, the Vanna
I'll take it.
It's the Vanna White. Look, it's our new glass. It's 8 inches high. It's clear. It has the orange W. Holds 12 ounces of your favorite beverage. It might be champagne, whatever. I know it sounds dumb, you guys.
No, it's not.
But this is what works. And the idea is not just to be random, right? But sell that item. We have 12. We have 12 in. Oh, no, 2 people just bought. We've only got 10 now. 8. We're down to 8 of this in the orange. We still have some left in pink. Literally, if you haven't seen QVC for a while, if you haven't watched the Home Shopping Network for a while, go online and watch them, see how they sell it, see how you might modify and adapt that for your own online selling.
Absolutely, and I have been intending to do more research so I can share with you, but I remember, and this was a couple years ago, reading about how they sell. So, by the way, now is the time for sales training. Now is the time for you and your team to be as good as you can possibly be. 6 steps to a perfect purchase, being done every single time. You can't afford to let any opportunity go. But having said that, I remember reading an article several years ago about QVC or Home Shopping Network, one of them, how they have it all dialed in, right? So we teach the 6 steps to the perfect purchase. They had their QVC, they had a system also. So when you start doing this, no, you do it way better than me.
Savannah White.
Let me try that. Not as good, I know. But when you start doing that, don't just ask for the sale. Think about what you're doing. Think about the process. Start dialing it in. Here, you can just use mine.
Yeah. So no, that's all right.
No, that's okay.
So I also have a great idea from Carrie.
Okay.
She says we got a store-specific cell phone so people can text us orders. It's a great idea. It's a great idea.
So let me add to that though. So I love the idea. Anytime you can get a sale, I love getting a sale. However, I would encourage everyone to encourage their customers to call. Why? Because a text is personal, but it doesn't engage in real conversation. So think about this. Somebody texts in an order. Great, you have an order. But if they call and you get a chance to talk to them, you get an opportunity to engage in a conversation. You get the opportunity to build a relationship. You get an opportunity to add on, right? So if somebody is calling your pet store to order food, if they order online, they're going to order a bag of food. If they call your store, you can say, hey, how are you doing with treats? How are you doing with toys? How are you doing with this? How are you doing with that? And most importantly, maybe not most importantly, I think adding on in the relationship are about equal, but you also get an opportunity to create another opportunity. So I'm going to use the example of a pet store. So Mark is a Platinum Mastermind Group alumni, and he's got a pet store in Wisconsin. So when you're talking to them on the phone, you say, what kind of dog do you have? Yes, I can get you, I'll deliver you that pet food. How much does he weigh? How often do you go through a bag of dog food? And the person will say, oh, my dog goes through a bag once a month. Say, wonderful. Would you like me to deliver another bag in a month? Or would you like me to call you in a month? It's even better to say, would you like me to call you in a month? Because when you call them, you get an opportunity to add on again. So do you see, we're becoming incredibly proactive about building the customer life cycle. And it starts with a conversation, not an order. We're making a big shift here from transactional, yes, text me an order, yes, engage in social selling, comments sold, yes, order online, to let's talk, because in the talk, in the conversation, there are other opportunities.
Yeah, chances to add on. Okay, lots of people wanting to know more about social selling. So we're going to throw it to Candace in just a little bit. We have Candace ready to go over there for us, Nate? Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Candace. Let's introduce her, and then she's going to do some of her favorite social selling tips and techniques for you guys. And if you have questions, just type them into the chat. We'll throw them to Candace at the end. She's probably not going to be watching the chat at the same time when she's doing her presentation. So if you've got questions for Candace, put them in the chat, and then we'll throw back to her, okay?
Okay. So Candace is the owner of Pet Boss Nation, which is a community of pet business professionals. She is a WhizBang certified retail coach. She is, I mean, we love Candace. She's got an enormous amount of energy and passion, and she cares about her clients and her community, which is why we were so excited when she chose to become a WhizBang certified retail coach. You know, philosophically, we're just so aligned. She's hardworking, she's wonderful, and yeah, we love Candace. And if you are a pet industry professional and don't know about Pet Boss Nation, I hope that this is an introduction that will lead to a relationship there also.
Sure, absolutely.
Anything that you want to add?
No.
Okay.
Good. All right. Well, so bear in mind, this is technology.
Yeah,
we've never
done
actually tried
this
before. We're doing all this on the fly with a skeleton crew here at WhizBang Training. Most of our crew is working from home. So
our production team is not here.
Our production team.
Our production team named Nate.
We've got one guy here. So we're gonna try to throw to Candace on our live stream, and we're gonna see how it works. All right, Nate.
Take it away, Candace.
Hey everybody, how are you? Not just my pet bosses out there, but our retail bosses, right? There's lots of retail bosses. And thank you so much, Bob and Susan, for letting me jump on here and teach the independent retailers. I've been in retail for, well, now I'm not anymore. I sold my store and my daycare, my doggy daycare, but I had been in retail for almost 15 years. So I totally get what you're going through and empathize with you so much. And the thing that's really, really exciting right now is that we do live in a time and an age where we can use technology to our advantage. And I know that for those of you who have not started selling on social yet, you likely are not doing it because you're afraid, right? You're living in the fear of not wanting to be on camera, or the fear of what will the people say, what will the customers think, or maybe fear in that you're gonna mess up, right? That the tech's not gonna work, you'll look like you won't know what you're doing. And I'm here to tell you, and Bob and Susan have been here to tell you, and I know lots of the fellow WhizBang retailers in that group have gone live before. We're all here to tell you that practice makes perfect. And there's really no better time than right now to start practicing, okay? So I've got some slides from a previous presentation that I've done, and I'm gonna whiz through those, but one of the things that we don't really talk about in that is some of the tools and the tech that's out there. So before I get into that, I just really wanna encourage you that if you've never done this before, is really that you can just take your phone, the phone you have right now, and you don't even have to go live. You can just start recording yourself just in a video mode to start practicing, right? Then as you get the courage up, go onto Facebook. Sure, if you want to also do Instagram, you can do Instagram. Stories would be a great place or to go live in that area, not a story, but to go live on Instagram. You could certainly do that if that's where your customer base is. But we really want you to just, for the ease of it, go ahead and go live on Facebook. So there's a variety of tools that are out there to help you do it. Like you could go from your laptop, like I've got a laptop in front of me right now that I could stream like that. Or I do have a professional camera in front of me on a tripod. Or I would love for you to find a really lightweight tripod. Like there's this one here. You could extend the feet, or it can sit on a counter. It has an adjustable top to it. And most of them all have these like little cell phone holders on it, okay? So you can turn your phone portrait, or you can go landscape. And I know that there's a lot of varying, there's a lot of theories on whether you should go portrait or landscape even. I personally like the landscape version because I feel like you can do other things with it video-wise afterwards. And I think for people watching on their computers, it's a little bit easier. But, portrait mode works too because everyone looks on their phones that way too. So, but again, don't let that stop you. You just need to get on live and get selling and engaging with your customers. And if you don't like how it goes, you can delete it. You can delete the whole thing, but practice will make perfect, okay? So don't live in the fear. The information that we have available to us, there's so much information out there on how to do this. So don't get too nervous about the tech side of it. And again, there are lots and lots of people who do not have access in this world to even have the Wi-Fi connection, have the stream, have the camera. So please do not live in fear. All right, so here we go. Hopefully I can share my screen and we will be able to go through some of the slides here. All right, and now I can't see the chat, just so that you guys know I cannot see the chat. And let me see if I can zoom in here. Let's see. I don't know how to make it big, and I don't want to lose you guys. So here's what we will do. All right, so how to sell on Facebook Live. We have a lot of clients in Pet Boss Nation who are using Facebook Live as well. And this is Barb from Treats on a Leash. So when she uses her Facebook Lives, they have been hugely successful for her. She's done over $2,400 just in 1 hour doing Facebook Lives. You can see here, she gets her team highly engaged and involved. And one of the things that Barb does when she goes live is that she assigns a number to every single item that she's going to sell. And she knows in advance too, how many of that item she has to sell and what she's gonna sell. So in this example, Barb has gotten really prepared ahead of time, okay? And let's see, let me stop sharing really quick. Okay, so what Barb will do is, let's say she's got a list of products that she's gonna sell. So she knows in advance everything she's gonna sell, and she assigns a number to every single item, all right? Maybe on a piece of paper, she has in advance, she knows what she's gonna sell, but a really easy way to do this is to just prep some index cards in advance. Okay, so you've got your items, you've got your numbers assigned to it, and you can start to make index cards just like this. And this is what Barb does. She'll make an index card. She holds up the index card when she holds up the product. I don't know if I have a remote control here. So she holds up the product and she's got the index card. You know, so what's great about it is as she's talking and selling this item like QVC style, like what Susan suggested there, on the back of this card, now I don't have it written, but on the back of the card, you can write things like the price of the item, maybe at full retail, what it normally is. And then maybe if you are selling it at a discount, that price can be on the back here as well. And then on the back of the card, if you don't know it by heart, you could write 3 things that you want to make sure that you say about that product. All right, so you put up a card, you've got the product, and then you tell your customers what you want them to do. You say, please put in the comments below what number you want and the quantity that you want. You can say exactly how many you have on hand. And then you need the support in the team there to be paying attention to the actual comments in the chat, because you're on camera. You can't pay attention to all of the conversations that's happening. So you need your support system there with you. So what Barb does is she'll just line up the products off to the side, and she's got her cards going. She starts moving through the cards. They get passed on. One of the girls is there with her, like getting the next item prepped. Someone else is taking it away. Somebody else is on the phone taking phone calls, and then someone's also in the chat paying attention. So for those of you worried about, you know, needing extra hours for your team, this would be a great opportunity for them to come on and help you, right? All right, so let's check out what some other people have done. Okay, now then we've got like Wendy from Muddigans. She has played games, and I don't know if you guys saw the Post-its behind me, but we oftentimes like to gamify the whole thing. And so this was a live that she did where she was teasing the show, the kind of the party she was going to be doing soon, because she was going to sell mystery bags. So in this situation, look at this. We've got 115,000 people have already viewed that little video. And so what she did is people could comment in there that had bought like a mystery bag. They'd be able to pick what number they wanted, and she'd open that container and then reveal the prize that she was giving to people. She was gamifying it by giving prizes away. And we'll go more into that too in just a second. Then you've got, you know, Woofs and Grooming and Goodies here too. Lynette, she has done mystery bags before, and she even gave away a grand prize. So this grand prize was win 1 year of free dog grooming for every purchase of one of the mystery bags. Because when you buy a mystery bag, you get a raffle ticket entry to win 1 year free of grooming. The mystery bags were only $25, and you will get more than $25 worth of items in the grab bag. So what she did is, and we've got, you know, another pet boss over here playing with the prize wheel, or their dog spinning the wheel on a live. That was a lot of fun. So if you take the concept of a mystery bag and you're selling mystery bags and you want to give away prizes, I learned this from the people online who do all kinds of selling online all the time, our Pearl ladies. If you guys haven't ever looked for Pearl parties on Facebook, search Pearl parties, and you'll get all kinds of ideas on how to do your gamification. But one of the things they do is they use a clipboard like this, and they will have numbers 1 through 25. So if you wanted to give prizes away to people buying your mystery bags, just assign a number to every one of your mystery bags. And when people come online and are watching you, then what you can do is say, hey, Mary Jo, you just bought a mystery bag. What number do you pick, Mary Jo? And you hold this up, and Mary Jo is in the comments, and she says, I want bag number 3. Great. So you scratch off bag number 3. Bag number 3 is now taken, and you show everyone, this is the QVC style, right? Like the bags are running out, people. So then you'd go grab mystery bag number 3, you'd grab mystery bag, open it up, talk about all the products that are available in the bag, and then you can even sell more products of the things that are in the mystery bag. So you need team and you need support, but this is one other strategy to gamify it. Behind me, we've got Post-its. Another way, you don't need a prize wheel, you don't have a clipboard, you can use Post-its on a wall to kind of do something similar with gamification. And we don't have a lot of time to go into all of that, but I'd be happy to come back and talk again to you guys about gamification and things. All right, so let me share my slides again. Okay, so you want to pick a date first, okay? And guys, I'm sure there's already questions. Can we get these slides, or it'll happen? I'd be happy to share the slides with you. I'll get them to Bob and Susan so that they can do that. So the first thing you guys want to do is you want to pick a date and a time. So look at the analytics and choose the best time that your followers would be there to participate. Now, normally they might be at work, and now they're going to be at home. So you may want to play around with the different types of times. Pick the date in advance. You want to schedule your team to be there to help with you. Depending on how you're going to do your selling, you may need multiple people. It also depends on how large your audience is. If you don't have a big Facebook following yet, you may not get a lot of people tuning in. However, if you already have a great list, a highly engaged list, you will need help, okay? So like Barb from Treats on a Leash, like I just mentioned, she usually has like anywhere from 40 to 50 people on live in the chat. And so she does need the chat support and help, all right? I also want to encourage you to determine the purpose and the goal of your live. I know that Bob and Susan talk about this all the time when it comes to your marketing and your special events, anything you do really in business. We need to know what the purpose is. And they talked about some ideas already today. Are you going to sell them? Are you using it as a mixer to get to know your customers and build brand loyalty? Are you going to do a Q&A with people? Are you going to teach them? You really need to know what your purpose is, and then that may determine what time of day you're going to go and exactly how you're going to be executing. All right, you want to promote this as much as possible. So this is a previous presentation I've done, but you could obviously, if you were still open, you could have flyers being handed out. You could talk it up. Definitely still send emails to your customers about it and do posts on social media. If you're going to be featuring other vendors that you work with, get them involved too. Find strategic partners who can help you really drive eyeballs to your social media live. You can be teasing items in advance too, so that people get excited about the types of things they're going to see or hear about, or the discounts they might get. I also just want to clarify really quickly, when I say go on to do a Facebook sale, I don't mean that you have to discount things. You don't have to discount it all, really. As long as you're having fun with people and they're getting a chance to get sneak peeks at items, you'll still likely be able to sell things, okay? So the biggest question I often get is how to figure out how to pay for things. So you want to plan this out in advance, figure out your payment strategy. There's a lot of ways to do it. Again, it may just depend on the audience size that's coming into you, but they can comment on your live stream what exactly they want. That's why that number is so great, to have a product number assigned to each product you're showing, so that they can comment exactly the number they want. And then they need to comment the quantity that they want, and they would need to comment if there's any variation of it that they want, okay? Then what Barb and at Treats on a Leash do, they just go back and actually send that person a private message. They PM them and say, great, we need you to call the store, or we need you to, give us your email so we can send you the invoice. So you can just have like one-on-one conversations with them through DM if they chat. You can treat it like a telethon. I mean, I agree with Bob 100%. You want to call, get them on the phone and call you. There's QVC strategies, but treat it like a telethon. Have the phones open, have the phones ready, have your phone number there. Say, call us now to get your order in, or, I'm sure there's different services out there that can potentially have it ring to a couple different lines. I think even Google Voice has some either free, even like maybe options for you to get a Google phone number for that and direct it to different places. Or the texting service is great too. Maybe they text you that they're interested and then you call them on the phone back. So you want to get them on the phone if possible. You could also send payment links once you have their email address. You could send them a PayPal link or some other credit card link. Some of your credit card processors will already have an online portal that you can process cards through. They may even have a platform where they can just make an order form for you and the person enters the total dollar amount and then they run their credit card that way. There's also services like already mentioned here, Comment Sold and ManyChat. ManyChat, I don't know if they can run actual credit card payments, but ManyChat is a bot that can start a conversation automatically with your customer for you if they're interested. With ManyChat, all they have to do is say something like sold. They could say the word sold, and that means they want to buy something. And your ManyChat bot would be able to just start a conversation with them and say, great, we're excited you want to make a purchase. Please provide us more information and the best way and time, way to get a hold of you and time to get a hold of you. We already talked about organizing everything that you want to sell ahead of time, and then you just got to go live. And once you're on live, you want to show and tell and sell, and then just have fun too. So I don't know how much time I have left, but I just want to run through a couple other things. Keeping it interesting, treat it like a party, put a theme to everything, have great visuals. We've done things where we had superhero props, or I've done summer school events where we have pom-poms and foam fingers. And now I know you may not be able to run out to your party store, but maybe you can have a lot of fun. I think there's a WhizBanger who does like Win It Wednesdays with wine potentially, so that's something fun too. You can have quizzes for your customers, engage them in conversation when they're there, treat it like a BYOB and have a party, right? Here's some other props. This is a picture here of a woman who does the pearls. So you can see behind her, she's got a Monopoly board game that she's made. She has spinning wheels and number drawers here. You could do things where to win a prize, they punch, you punch a hole inside the cups and pull something out, like a piece of paper that would list on it what they have won that would come with their shipment. You can get Plinko boards or spinning wheels. How to make it profitable. You want to feature your new items, bundle items together, move out old items. You can make surprise bags, limit quantities, and limit the time amount available to buy them and be consistent. So as Susan has mentioned, this is my last slide I want to share, is that you want to think like QVC. So through repetition of talking about the product and the benefits. I will say this, as I have been watching a lot of people do Facebook Lives, they move way too quickly through the item that's available for purchase. So in this example where I have, we've got the remote that we're selling and we've got the number one, you'd show this and you'd say, hey, we have a remote control. It's got a variety of buttons, and the ease of it is that you don't have to get off of your couch. It's the brand. It doesn't, and the battery lasts longer. And if you're interested in buying one, please comment below. And you just talk about it a little bit longer before going, I've got a number one and I have a remote. And so we're done. Number two and done, right? You don't want to do that. Slow it down so that your people can think about it. They have time to think about if they want to make the purchase or not yet, right? Too often, people move through things in QVC. If you watch that show, they are just on that product, talking about it for a while, and trying to sell more of that one product. Use descriptive adjectives to bring the products to life. You want to incorporate enthusiastic hosts, bring the energy. This is your time to shine. If you're not great on camera, find a team member who could be on camera for you or with you. Sometimes it's so much easier when you have a partner on camera to bounce ideas back and forth with or have a conversation with. You want to tell a story to bring people into your personal life or tell the story of their own personal life to draw them in. You want to let the viewers know how the products are selling. That could create a trend, right? Motivate people to buy. And then by, if you've got, like in our case, pets, you'd be using live models, or if you have another like women's boutique, you would want to be showcasing the products on people. You can stage the products with special lighting and then do time limiters and special pricing and quantities. So that is really all here. We've got these are some basic things you need to do in the process. Pick your date, decide who's going to help you. What's your purpose for going live? What's the result that you want? Is there a theme? How can you make it exciting? How are you going to promote this event? How will you process orders and payments? When are you going to organize the products? What tech do you need to go live? Maybe you need to buy still some equipment. Hopefully not though. I mean, really the only thing you would need is a tripod if you don't have something, and then just have fun. So if there are specific questions now, I will stop sharing my screen. I can't go back and forth with Bob and Susan, but I can hear if they probably can answer a lot of the questions that you have, but I can certainly take some questions and they can throw it back to me, okay? And of course, like I said, I will have the slides available for you. I'm also in the WhizBang group. If you have questions, I'm happy to chat there if they want to do that. but we're just here to support you because we believe in you so much. All right.
So thank you so much, Candace. What, didn't you think that was just
right?
amazing?
And like Linda said, that was some gold right there.
There was some gold.
That was some gold. Now see, like that's exactly what we were talking about, that QVC style selling. And Candace gave you some really tactical tips. Thank you so much, Candace.
Absolutely. So I have a bit of homework. I have a bit of homework for everybody out there.
Okay.
Watch QVC. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, don't just, so we've given you some idea. Candace gave you a lot of great ideas. There's nothing like you just pouring yourself a glass of wine or a root beer or whatever you like and just sit in front of the television and watch for a while.
Yeah.
Glass of water, watch for a while. So you were going to say something,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
we've got some questions.
Okay.
So a couple of them might be for Candace, and we could probably answer a couple of them. So first of all, Linda asked the question, how do you attach a better camera, like a an SLR camera to your, we're doing it right now. We're using an SLR camera to run our Facebook Live. So you can do that just by using a USB cord. Is that correct, Nate? No.
No, okay.
Nate's going to get us, he's going to get the box that shows you the cord that you need to attach between your camera and your computer, Linda. So hold on for the answer there for just a second. Sarah.
So, but I do want to say, so I got a new iPhone 11. So Susan's been after me to get a new iPhone for a while, but my flip was just working. No, it wasn't. But so I got a new iPhone 11 Pro last week because sure enough, they're all running out. But I'll tell you what, it takes great videos. That's what great.
That's
so
what we've been doing our morning Facebook Live podcast with, and it's working out just great. But here's the little piece that you need, Linda, to connect, and even on the back it shows from the camera through this little box into your computer to stream AVIO HD is what it's called. So so that's a good way. If you have a nicer camera and you want to use it, you can use that little thing. So there you go.
So and I just want to say something else. So we're taking questions and fielding questions, and Candace had a limited amount of time. Is it next Tuesday, the next Retail Marketing Club?
Yeah, next Tuesday.
So next Tuesday we're having a Retail Marketing Club meeting, and it's gonna be all about marketing in during the coronavirus epidemic. And it's going to be a little more organized than this. We're going to go through it piece by piece by piece. And if you're not a member of the Retail Marketing Club, I would strongly encourage you to join. It's only $29 to join. You can cancel your membership at any time. One idea pays for many years in the club. And you can learn more about the Retail Marketing Club by going to our website, WhizBangTraining.com. In the primary navigation, there's a products pull down, and you can learn more about it there. But if you want to go deeper, this would be a great opportunity because we're going to really dig into more marketing ideas and explore them more fully next Tuesday in the Retail Marketing Club.
Yeah, great. So Sarah has a question. Great question, Sarah. She says, can you run something like this on 2 Facebook pages at once? You can. We're actually doing it right now. We're running this on our WhizBang Training Facebook page, and we've also shared it, which is what you can do, share it into our WhizBang Retailers group page. So you start it in one page, and then right up at the top, if you're the owner, the administrator of the page, it'll ask you, do you want to share it? And it'll let you share it into a group, into a page, onto your personal stream. So wherever you want to share it, and it'll be going out simultaneously. If any of you guys right now, like I know Candace has shared this into Pet Boss Nation right now. So if you guys like what's going on, you can share it into your own industry forums or to your own groups that you have, community groups of retailers. So yes, you can do that, Sarah. It's really easy to do.
Great question,
Great
though.
question.
Great question.
And one other question, which I think is great. And Candace, I know you're on chat now with us. So Ginger has the question, how often should we do our Facebook Live events? Which is a great question. So maybe you want to answer some of that, Candace, and Bob, I'm sure you've got some ideas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The question is not how often. Well, it is the question, but here's how I'd like you to think about it. People are going to be home bored. People are looking for distractions. They're looking for entertainment. They're looking for ways to spend time. If you have children at home, we talked about a game day and things like this. It's this idea of doubling down. If something's working, do more of it until it doesn't work anymore. So if you did a Facebook Live for an hour one day and it had great response, the next day you should try 2. And just keep doubling down. I'll use an example here. So Susan's brother is a scientist. So he saw and shared with us this way back. In fact, we talked about it, as Susan mentioned, in the Platinum Mastermind group in Los Angeles
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago, and everybody was looking at us like we were crazy. I mean, they didn't because but it wasn't that they were doubting us. It all seemed so far-fetched. It seemed far-fetched to us also. As it accelerated, we created that original report and the video. And guess what? It was really, really successful. And it provided value. This is what I'm getting at. It provided value. So since it provided value and it was successful, we doubled down. And last week we started this community forum. And it was successful and it provided value. So we doubled down. So now we're doing a daily podcast. Why? Because it's successful and it adds value. The more value that you can add to your customers' lives, the more they're going to reward you with giving you their money. So the question isn't, should I do it once a week? The question is, if your store isn't open for business, as in people can't walk in or they're not walking in like they used to, the question is, how much can you? Peter Moore talked about the Shootopia shopping
shopping channel.
Peter, can you be open 8 hours a day? Can you be open during regular store hours? There may be hours where you don't sell anything. But guess what? Most retail stores have an hour or so where they don't sell.
That'd be tricky, but wow. But I do love the idea of doing
Why would it be tricky? I just want to challenge that. So here's the challenge that everybody's having. You have employees and you want to keep them busy. You want to employ them. It's just, we're good people. We have employees. They need money. We need money. Everybody needs money.
You want to pay them if you can.
You want to pay them if you can. Absolutely. So if you employ these 2 tracks, 1, Facebook, social selling, 2, clienteling, I believe that, you may not make the same amount of money, but you can really, really...
You can keep it going.
You can keep it going.
Keep it going, people.
And you can keep them working. And I just think that that's so important, So I don't think being open regular store hours is far-fetched.
So what I would say is, it might be too much for some people.
Yes.
Peter's got a big staff, etc. But what I would say is, if you're going to do a daily Facebook Live QVC style thing, you need to keep it consistent. Make it always be at 4 p.m. or make it always be at 10 a.m. or whatever, so that your customers get used to shopping with you during that time. So.
Yes. But I do want to talk about one other thing that ties into this whole live discussion that isn't necessarily so QVCE.
Yes.
God, I wish I had the style that you have. Doesn't that my style? I look like an old guy going like this. But anyway, Vanna White is, think about education also. So, I shared we've been sharing so many things. I think it was in the podcast yesterday that when I had a conversation with Maureen before the interview about clienteling, we were talking about what to do. So there's selling live, but there's also just this whole idea of adding value. So Maureen sells high-end women's clothing. So there are people who, let me change the industry. We'd change the industry. So let's say that you're in the quilting business, that you have a quilt store. You know, it doesn't have to be sell something. It can be add value. QVC is there to sell something. You can also just flat out add value. Oh, and by the way, so using the example of quilting, you could work with people. You could have a community project, right? So
like our Platinum Mastermind group, Jan Crane's doing that right now.
That's exactly right.
She's doing them on live video, and she's saying, okay, here's the square we're working on right now. Everybody get your machines out. Here's what we do first. Here's what we do second. And they're building a quilt together.
And so QVC is a direct sell. You're doing this thing. You're talking about this thing to sell that thing. But there's also just adding value. Jan doing a square, doing a game day. We call it, oh, by the way. So you give value, you give value, you give value, you give value. Oh, by the way. The example that I use when I speak live is I show a email that came from Grand Haven Garden House. It's a spring cleanup checklist. It's all these things that you need to do to get your yard prepared for spring, right? It's how to start your yard off right in the spring. And oh, by the way, when you do all these things, you're going to need all this stuff. So I do want to just, sort of move expand the conversation a little bit past just selling a thing into adding a lot of value. And then, oh, by the way, if this sounds interesting, we've got it for sale.
Yeah. So Karen wants to know about high-end clothing. So how can you do that? And Candace has said a couple of times on the chat, and I think this is really important. And you're alluding to it, but I'm going to just be more specific about it. Is the idea that you can have different shows. You can even name them. And they have different purposes. She talked about this idea of purpose, that we are always about that. So like you might have the straight QVC style selling show in the morning. And you might have a more informational or a community, or let's just get together and have a party engagement kind of thing in the evening. So, the idea of naming them different things is really important. Who was it here that said they wanted to know about fashion? Karen. Karen says, how about high-end fashion? All right, so easy, the QVC part, easy, right? You talk about the individual piece of clothing. We've only got one in each size. That's, you've got scarcity going right there. But what you could do for your just general entertainment or engagement or education piece is you could take one blouse and pants and style it 3 different ways, right? That's fun and entertaining. Your customers will love that. What's the nighttime looks? What's the daytime look? What's the corporate look? How do you make that go to the beach? How do you send that on vacation? Maybe you pack a different suitcase every night. This suitcase for when we do get to travel again, because we will get to travel again. Like your dream suitcase, like that would be super fun. All those kinds of ideas they're not straight selling like the QVC style. You might still sell things during those events, but they're not like okay, here's item number 1, like that kind of thing. But there's tons of great things you could do for high-end fashion.
But, and not only that, but what Maureen and I talked about is, so what is new for spring? Spring is still going to be here, and people are still going to go out in the spring. What are the trends for spring? So what we talked about with Maureen is, Maureen, you and your top stylists, you have a little panel discussion, put a couple of comfortable chairs around and, just talk about what they see happening. I loved all of your ideas. But as we explored it deeper, and when I was talking to Tom about what to do in the cigar business, I think that a lot of people like a product, like high-end cigars, fine cigars, like fashion, like toys and games and educational play, but they don't have the time or the energy to engage in it intellectually. So with Tom, we were talking about, people come in, they find their favorite cigar, and that's what they buy because they're in a hurry, right? They stop in at the cigar box on the way home, they pick up a box of whatever it is that they figured out that they like, and they drive home and they smoke them till they're gone, and then they do it again. But that doesn't mean that they're not interested in the history of cigars, in where they come from, the different cigar makers, what makes a fine cigar, doing a tasting like we talked about with wine, educated
or tea.
them.
We've got Sheila Duda on.
Sheila, yeah, with
tasting.
tea. It's another educational piece. So you can find a way to make your product come alive. And it goes back to that earlier question of how much should I do this? And I keep coming back to with all of this is, hey, right now, this whole time is about the hustle. Going the extra mile, doing the extra thing, trying the crazy thing, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and when something works, doubling down. So I loved your examples, by the way.
So Ann Schneider from the front porch says that right now she's normally been selling 1 to 2 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like if your store has to close, if the doors have to close, your business doesn't have to stop going, right? But if your doors have to close, you might do it every day. Like you've obviously got it going in, so you could add more. You could do it 5 times a week. So and I think we're going to be increasing the frequency of our social selling right now because people aren't coming in the doors.
And so something else that I want to share is and I get it, but there's a feeling that people aren't going to have any money to spend. And while there is some truth to that people are nervous about their money.
And some people aren't.
And some people aren't, but don't assume that people aren't. Don't assume that your customers don't have any money to spend. Right now, they're not going to have any money to spend on going out, on going to concerts, on going to restaurants. And some people, spending money shopping is really good therapy for them emotionally. Mm-hmm. So don't make those assumptions. So when you start thinking about pricing things, don't just say, hey, I'm going to put it on sale because you think that that's going to drive sales. I think that what's going to drive sales is not discounting, it's adding value through all of these things that we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, good. So I think we're kind of wrapped up on this idea of social selling for a minute.
Good.
We did have some questions early on in the webinar about employees.
Yes.
And how to handle it when you have to close your doors with your employees. And I don't, there are, and there was some chatter about bills in the United States Congress that maybe have passed. Have they not passed? Are they going to pass? We don't know if they're going to pass. So we're not going to talk about those yet because we don't have definitive information on any of that stuff. But keep track of what's happening. From a federal standpoint.
Well, and it's not just federal. The Canadian government is doing lots of things. Yes. And, we probably have people, Mark we have a Platinum Mastermind group who's in England. So, this is a very international community. So it's really about your state, your municipality, your provincial government, your national government. And yes.
Yeah. So, but rather than the specifics of it, I think we can talk to some of the more, generalities of it. I think the more communicative you are with your staff, the more transparent you are with them about what's happening in your business, what you can and can't do, what your plans and hopes for the future are. The more that you can, be honest with them, I think the better off you're going to be. If you can get this kind of stuff going, this social selling going, if you can get the clienteling going, you are going to continue to have some revenue coming in. I really believe that we can do that.
And if you're doing social selling, if you're the person on camera and you're doing a good job, you're going to need two people on the phone, right? Or if you have somebody else selling, you're going to have, so it's work. It needs people. So do the work and employ the people.
Yeah. So and so figure out how that's going to work. It's going to be different for each one of you. Maybe there may need to be maybe they have less hours and not no hours. Maybe you pay them a partial salary now and make it up later when you have the cash flow. I mean, you can't give them something that you don't have, right? I mean, that's the facts. But try to be a good human. Just try to be a good human to your people, and they will reward you.
Yes, and I want to go back to with your staff, because that's exactly right. Be a good human. Don't try to deceive them. Don't try to fool them. One of the things that I think is going to come from this for all of us is an opportunity to build a better culture. One of the things that you absolutely, well, I'm going to post on WhizBang Retailers probably tomorrow, the Silver Linings edition post, where I'm going to ask people what silver linings have you found in this situation so far? And I know that in the positive focus from our Platinum Mastermind group, somebody said, well, this has been a perfect opportunity to get rid of a couple of toxic employees, right? So here's the thing. So this is an opportunity for you to tighten up, strengthen up, get good, and really take the people who are on your team and bring them closer to you, and to really, let them help you. And I know I've talked about this several times before, but, new people keep coming into this community, and there's this concept that Susan and I developed called ADD, and it means ask, discuss, decide. And there are lots of things going on, and if you think that you have to figure everything out on your own, I'm going to look at you and telling you that you are incorrect. You have a team filled with people who have experience, who are creative, who care about you and your business, particularly when you get rid of your toxic employees. And so I would encourage you, when you think about your team, say, hey, how can we do this? Ask, so that's the ask. Ask them, how can we make our social selling more effective? How can we sell more things? Don't try to figure it out on your own. Ask them. Let them help you figure it out. Discuss. Have meetings. Keep a conversation going. When we teach ADD, it's generally in the context of business as usual, but business isn't as usual. So, make that discussion happen and then decide. So let your team help you succeed. When you become enough of a servant leader to let them help you, they're going to reward you with loyalty. They're going to reward you with great ideas. They're going to help pull you through this. And believe me, this is something that I know for a fact, because I've been through all of this. Not on this scale. Nothing like this. Nothing like this has ever really happened in our lifetimes. But you have a tremendous burden on you right now. I don't need to tell you that. You have a tremendous burden on you right now. And it is going to get heavier. But when you let your team help you, they will help you. They will take some of that burden from you. And that's beautiful. And one day you're going to wake up and you're going to go, holy cow, I am so blessed to have these people. Because right now you're pulling them along. But if you let them help you, they will pull you along when you need to be pulled along. You will become a tighter, better team because of this. So I just really want you to start to think about that. It's not just about giving them hours. It's about all of you pulling together and coming through this together. So.
Yep, that's great.
I had one more thing that I wanted to talk about before we stop, or should we just stop?
No, and let's talk about ways that you guys can reach out to your community.
Oh, that's what I was going to talk about.
That's good. Then go ahead. Great minds.
You can do it.
No. Go
Okay.
ahead. Good.
All right.
I like it.
So,
I'm chatting with
okay,
people.
okay, good. So Laura Havleck sent us an email, and I thought it was wonderful and just created so many ideas for me, for you. But she was saying, and Julie Hubbard's doing the same thing. But what she was saying is, so Laura has a kitchenware store. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it. Sign of the Bear, something, a kitchenware store in the Bay Area in California.
Sign of the Bear, kitchen.
Sign of the Bear. Okay, good,
Yep,
good.
in Sonoma.
Okay. That's Sonoma.
Right in the middle, like they're locked down, I think. Well, maybe Sonoma's not. They're in the middle of the outbreak for sure.
But anyway, they sell soap, right? Kitchenware. They sell soap, and so she's finding ways to help first responders, to help the people. She's finding ways to help the people who are helping her community. Julie Hubbard has a coffee shop, and Julie was talking about, a church came to her and wanted to buy coffee for all of the people who are working their butts off. I mean, there are people out there putting themselves in harm's way every single day, and they deserve our love. They deserve our support too. So we're asking our communities to support us. There needs to be a little trickle down here, and we need to support them. So
Yeah, all those medical first responders, like, what do you have that you can help them with? Snacks, soap? Wow, I
Yeah.
don't know. Ask. What Laura did was she asked. She called up a whole bunch of clinics and hospitals, and she was like, what do you need? And they were like, we're running out of soap. And so she sent them a whole bunch. They were going to buy it, and she just offered to donate it. But that's ask what they need.
ask. And so this is ADD. This is perfect, a perfect example of how to use ADD in the age of the coronavirus. Let's not call it the age. Let's not go there. But talk to your team. Say, how can we help? Let them come up with ideas. I had a couple of ideas, just off the top of my head. Is you can donate like Laura did, which is very, very straightforward. You can do things as simple as buy coffee. So it is not just the first responders. There are people keeping our electricity going. The people who are delivering your boxes, your UPS driver. Now is the time to share love. Now is the time to be the best human being that you could possibly be, in the best business, not in the terms of profit and loss, but being a real person in a real community-focused business. But something else that you can do is you can do the old add-on thing. And what do I mean by that? If you travel at all, you're probably not right now, but so I'm a million miler. I have traveled a lot. And in many of the airport stores, it's a non-negotiable standard to ask, would you like to buy something for a service person? Right? And you would be amazed at how many people buy something for a service person. We've talked about doing this. We've talked about this in the Platinum Mastermind group with pet stores. So you have right there at the counter a single serving dog food, cat food, or let people buy supplies for the shelter. You have a bin right there. You have the merchandise right there. So people go, oh, I would love to. They're pet lovers. They're in a pet store. They're buying stuff for their pets. They feel good about donating to the shelter. So they say, oh, yeah, I'll buy this for the shelter.
Or even for people who have pets but can't afford food right now.
Right. Mark is on this call. Mark had the most brilliant idea.
Mark just got on an airplane, actually. But he was in the airport. But
Okay. So Mark is a Platinum Mastermind Group alumni.
He's on his way.
And he had what I thought was just absolutely brilliant in its compassion and its integrity. And so what he did was, what he found was, when people were in bad straits financially, when they had to go to the food pantry to find food for their families, they were often abandoning their pets because they couldn't feed their pets. They take care of their pets. So he basically put his pet store and positioned it, the fairy dog mother or father.
Fairy dog mother, yeah.
Fairy dog mother. So he started to intercept those people at the food pantries. He would provide pet food there. You see, so was I explaining that correctly?
Yeah, I think,
okay.
yeah, I think people get the idea. It wasn't eloquently explained
God, I'm telling you.
as you normally do, honey, but I think you get the idea.
Okay. Usually I have a chance to go through it first. But do you see what we're doing though? What we're doing is we're giving people an opportunity to feel good and to donate at the same time. So ask yourself, what can you donate or what can you add on? This is really what we're trying to suggest that you do here, is whenever you sell anything, have an add on that will go to support the people who are supporting your community. Now, there's another dynamic to this that you can make the decision for yourself. I know at the airport, those people aren't giving it discounted, they're just selling it. So they're making full margin off of that item. So you could do that, and that I think is totally ethical. Or you could also say something like, we're going to match, or find a way to amplify that effort. There's something else that you can do too. If there is a group in your community that you really, really are grateful for, that is doing a lot for the community, you can do a social selling cause marketing event. I just thought of this when we were talking to Candace. So let's say you want to support your local EMTs. They need the love. You could do a social selling live event, and you give 20%, 15%, whatever number you feel is appropriate. We like 20, by the way, back to the organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, what crazy little things might those people need? Do they need new socks? Do they need, I don't know. What do they need?
What do they need? What do they need?
Ask.
So you have so much opportunity to be of such service to your community. There's a tendency, I think, for all of us naturally to withdraw. And we need to practice social distancing. We need to be responsible. You can't have a giant cause marketing event where you're bringing everybody into your store. But the need to be supportive of our community is even greater now than it's ever been. So what we need to be as a community of independent brick and mortar retailers is we have to be more compassionate, and more creative, and add more value into our communities than ever before. And that's what we're trying to do with these community forums. That's what we're trying to do on WhizBang Retailers. We're trying to unleash your genius. We're trying to unleash you, us, onto the world for good. So
yeah, one thing that just flashed through my mind that I want to talk about just for a minute before we wrap up is, do not forget about your email list. We've been talking a lot today about social selling and social media and social channels and all of those things. Make sure that you are using your email list to point people to your social channels. Thank you.
You're welcome.
To point people to your social channels, tell them when you're going live, give them a fun description. Maybe you can even do the TV guide for your store. On this day, we're doing a fashion show at this time. We're doing, the Shootopia selling network at this time. We're doing, whatever you're doing. So and almost like a little TV guide for the week.
That's right.
But use your email list. Don't forget.
Engagement.
It is your most powerful tool still.
Absolutely. So, and again, there's always been natural traffic that come to you because they're your customers. And that's going to slow down. So it is your responsibility to engage more aggressively. Doesn't sound like the right word, but it all
Actively.
Actively. That's a better word.
More activity.
more activity, and people are going to have time for the activity.
Yeah.
That's I think that's the important thing to
They're
recognize.
going to be so bored.
They're going to be so.
They need you.
They need you. So please, everybody, recognize they need you. You need them. We all need each other in a way that we haven't needed each other probably since 9/11, and it's different than 9/11 even.
Very different.
So just recognize that that is an opportunity and it's a responsibility. And business is a value for value exchange. And you as a business person, the more value you put into the world, the more value you get out. And the value you get out, besides feeling good, which is valuable, is money. And that's what we're talking about here. How do you stay alive? How do you move forward?
Survive and advance.
Survive and advance. And this whole what Susan and I are all about right now is how do you keep doing business when your business when your doors may not be open. And we believe that you can be in business and be open and still be a good citizen. I'm 100% convinced of it, but it takes wiles, it takes creativity, it takes enthusiasm, it takes the hustle. You've got this. It takes heart. It takes heart. You've got this. Anything you want to say to wrap it up?
No, I think the questions have kind of trickled down. If you have any more questions, pop them in there right now. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up. We went over, as always. We can never seem to keep it just to an hour. But
we did say we were going to go until the questions are all done.
Yeah, and I do want to say thank you again so much to Candace. Great info.
Great job, Candace.
Thank you for sharing
Great
your
job.
examples. We really appreciate it. I'm sure everybody got a lot of food for thought. We've got a lot of people saying, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it.
Good.
I'm going to do something different. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Like she said, doesn't matter. They need you out there doing this stuff, and so don't be afraid. Just give it a shot.
Super quickly, a recap. Every Tuesday, we're going to have these community forums, 1 o'clock. They're scheduled for an hour, but we're going to take questions until they're gone. Every morning, 9:30 on WhizBang Retail, on the WhizBang training page and on WhizBang Retailers, we're recording the podcast. So you can either join us at 9:30 in the morning or you can catch the podcast. Go to Anchor and you can subscribe. Next Tuesday is the Retail Marketing Club. It's going to be all about marketing your retail store during this time. It's only $29 to join. You can cancel at any time. So I guarantee you there's going to be way more than $29 worth of information in that.
Always is.
If you haven't subscribed to our tip of the week, I would encourage you to do that. I mean, so many free resources. This is all about getting through this together.
Yep.
So I just wanted to make sure that we were, any other resources we can share?
Good. I think that's good. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Oh, WhizBang Retailers. We didn't talk about WhizBang Retailers.
Yeah, definitely. Join us on WhizBang Retailers. That's our Facebook group. You can go to just look up WhizBang Retailers, answer the membership questions, and we'll let you in just a couple seconds. So super easy. That's it. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30 for our podcast mini updates with ideas and inspiration. So
thank you for being here.
See
We
you
love
guys.
you guys. Bye.